Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. My name is Steve Torsa. I'm the Managing Director for Wholesale Investor. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you, everybody, for coming today. It's really like to host something like this. For us 6 months ago, this idea of hosting a crypto and blockchain convention just wasn't even on the radar, wasn't on the agenda, and wasn't something that we were contemplating about. And for me as a founder, and I can appreciate the investors that work with founders and also founders that could be here as well, it's interesting for us to see the rate of growth in this as an area. And yes, there's part hype to it. There's obviously hype to it, but also there's a fundamental underlying change that we're also seeing take place in our area. So to kick off my presentation, I basically want you to understand why we're doing this. I want to give a bit of an indication as to what our journey, from a wholesale investor perspective, and my personal journey with is in this area. For us, one of our shareholders is Dominic Carosa, who owns bitcoin.com.au. And last year, we actually did a promotion for bitcoin.com.au. And it was actually one of the most, as far as opportunities go, it was one of the most high. By the way, it seems like it's pretty hot in the room. If we can get the air conditioning a bit cooler, that'd be great. The response from our investor audience was unbelievable. And the company raised a decent amount of money from that promotion. And I thought, geez, that's really interesting. Then we worked with Peak Asset Management on the Timeless offer. And following the interest of Timeless offer, to give you an idea, it had, from our registrations, it had 280 registrations of interest. The company was only raising $2.5 million. They had 10 million of offers. And this was for a pre-IPO blockchain company coming out of the UK. And I thought, wow, I've never seen that sort of interest in a company before. So that really got my attention. And then sort of late September, we come across Powerledger. And it's probably one of the most known stories in this area about what's happened to Powerledger since they actually went through their ICO. But we had one day to promote them just because of the time in which we come across them. We thought, you know what? If we're going to see what sort of interest is from our investor database in this area, this is probably a good case. At that stage, they'd already raised 15 million. They already had a significant amount of money raised. So we thought, okay, let's promote it and see. So we sent out an email, and the registrations went through the roof. The website, the stats on the website for their page also went ballistic. And then the next thing we hear, and said they obviously did a lot of promotion. It was a very successful offer, and I think they ended up raising like 34 million or something, some crazy amount like that. But then obviously it was at the time that Bitcoin was going up and Ethereum was going up, so the price just skyrocketed to the point where it was I think it was at 20 times or something at one stage. But what really interested me is this. So just after that period, so October, we started coming across some more crypto deals. And then November, the Wholesale Investor did a roadshow throughout Asia. And we did Singapore, Hong Kong, and South Korea. Now, if anyone knows those markets, literally every single conversation was either crypto or blockchain. Ooh, that was a good catch while I was talking. Crypto or blockchain related, right? So that really started to open my mind because obviously we do a lot in Asia, and that's what our Asian audience were really interested in. And I had sovereign funds coming up to me, talking to me about this area, setting up meetings for me. One of them was we spent 3.5 hours on a Sunday with these two investors that had actually made retirement level money, at that time, that were previously investment managers for a family office and for a sovereign fund. So I thought this is really interesting. Are you dinging me? How funny. He's kicking me off already. So to me, it's something, as a founder, I could not ignore that. And then whilst I was in that meeting, I sent a message to one of my close friends. And the message I asked him was this: have you participated in an ICO? And he wrote back an answer which blew me away and changed my whole reference. And he wrote, I've been in and out of 5 ICOs in the last week. Right? So my question for you guys is really simple. Who here has invested into crypto in any way, shape, or form, out of curiosity? That is astonishing. Who here's been to a wholesale investor event before, out of curiosity? Actually, less for that. How funny is that? So this, to give you an idea how much this market has changed, you just wouldn't expect that. And then we had a fund manager event taking place. So after the Asia trip, I was like, okay, I've got to look into this more. I started speaking to some investors we had a fund manager event, and one of the most popular deals at that fund is actually presenting today was Apollo. So I was asking people that were going up and chatting to Apollo, at the time, why were they interested? And the driving force seemed to be one thing that was quite fast. Obviously, it was getting a lot of hype, but a lot of people, and I'm going to ask this question to everybody, Who has family members, aka kids, that are currently trading crypto or interested in crypto? Right. That was the number one thing, and I found that was what was probably driving the interest in this area, was actually from family members. And I thought, is this a changing of a generation? So, I said, as a founder, we've been doing this for 9-10 years, right? I plan to keep, I said, we love what we do, and we love to keep on moving with what's interesting. And so I thought that's really interesting. I've never seen that before. We've seen so many trends and themes and so forth, but as far as an underlying shift, we found that quite interesting. So, as far as in doing this, if you came to our Emergence conference, when we hosted our Emergence conference, we only had this half of the room, right? And there was people actually standing, it was like 5 meters back trying to get into the room for the crypto and blockchain session. So I said, if anything doesn't wake you up to think how much interest is in this area, and even right now, like the price of Bitcoin is what, 60, 70% off? And yet, look at the interest in this room today, right? And I said, we've got 700 registrations for today, right? So anywhere between 300 to 500 people are going to come to this event today. We have never had that for an individual showcase that we have done before. We had it for Emergence, but not for an individual showcase. So if you want to understand why all of a sudden we're looking at this area, why you're seeing opportunities from us in this area, this is why. And it's effectively because of you guys. If you guys weren't here, if you guys weren't clicking receive, request, receive interest or anything like that, we wouldn't be doing this, right? It's basically from the demand of our audience where this interest is generated. Now, just a quick procedural thing for today. I'm going to let Alex manage most of the part, but we've set up different areas. All the companies that are presenting today, we've obviously got 10 guest speakers. We've had guys that have flown in from the US. So Bob Bonomo will be talking about what Wall Street thinks about this area. He's coming from the US to participate in this event. We've got from Hong Kong, we've got Dave Chapman, who's flown in specifically for this event. So if you ever found yourself stuck with 30 million plus worth of crypto and thinking about how to change that into fiat, Dave is your man, right? And he's been involved in this area since 2012, right? So one of the bigger exchanges out of Hong Kong. Fascinating guy. I said the panel sessions are perfectly stacked for you to get as much information as possible, but I absolutely know that at the end of today you're going to have more questions than you have answers, because that to me is just the world of crypto. So look, really simple things, as a bare basics. I know I've talked for a little bit too long, but basically 10 minutes for each company. At 1 minute, we're going to be dinging the companies to let them know that time's going to be completed. I said we've got a great lineup of speakers, guest speakers, companies. The companies that are presenting are just as fascinating, right? And you see areas from gaming to, life science to tech to, I said it covers all spectrums. And I said, what you're seeing today is exactly what we're seeing, right? Which is hence why I said we find so much interest in this area. I said, take a look around, have a look at the people that you're chatting with. It's something that we've never seen before in such a short period of time. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Alex to come and be your host. Thank you everybody for coming along, and enjoy the day. Thank you.